You wake up every day and you choose uncertainty, but only because you know that there's unlimited possibility on the backside of it. There are a certain set of traits that each and every entrepreneur has. They are passionate, they are driven, they are problem solvers, they're a visionary, they're able to take massive amounts of risk, and they are incredibly enthusiastic. And if you have all 6 of those traits, you are positioned and you are likely to be an entrepreneur and go against the grain. But what happens when you move against the grain is there is an immense amount of stress and friction going against you, right? As you can understand, as we all understand, when we take the leap out of what is conventional and what is normal, we learn over time how to face that adversity, face that risk, and we become risk tolerant. We begin to notice patterns and we begin to capitalize on those patterns. People like Tony Robbins talk about the importance of pattern recognition in people in any profession, but specifically in entrepreneurs, for us to be able to identify patterns, for us to replicate patterns, and then for us to be able to create our own patterns, because that's all any of this is. That's all any successful business is creating predictable outcomes based on strategic input. What is the input for us to get the output, right? And we go into this life of entrepreneurship, of risk, right? When we start this journey, we are saying okay to risk. And that's something that we must be content with in ourselves, because there is a sense of stability when you work a 9-to-5 job, when you have somebody else employing you, when you work for a large corporation. There's much less stability when you have to do it yourself, when you have to put your food on your own plate and food on everybody's plates around you. It puts a lot more pressure on you, but it also forces you to grow, because pressure, stress, forces us to grow as individuals, forces us to consolidate time and experience more time. And ultimately, the reason that most people with those 6 before mentioned traits move into entrepreneurship is because they want this one thing. They want freedom more than anything else. Because freedom is given to us by 3 things. There's freedom of time, there's freedom of money, and there's freedom of relationships. Those 3 areas of freedom, as indicated in Dan Sullivan's book, Who Not How He Does, which is actually written by Dr. Benjamin Hardy, they do a great job of explaining how we are able to find freedom in these areas of our lives. Freedom is what each and every one of us desires, and certain people find freedom in different ways. Myself, being an entrepreneur, I knew that I needed freedom of my time. I needed to be able to say, if there's waves on a Tuesday, I want to surf, I need to go to the beach. I needed to know that I have the freedom to say, let me take this opportunity. Let me go on this trip with these brands overseas. Let me go take an opportunity to go fly down to Mexico and work with a bunch of influencers. Let me take these opportunities as they come. I needed that in my life to live a fulfilling life for myself. And that's not the same for each and every person. I needed freedom of money. And that's one that I'm still working on. Freedom of finance, right? Because as we build our business, as we move through this journey of life, are either living paycheck to paycheck, or we are moving towards financial freedom if we don't have it already. For us to achieve financial freedom, freedom of money, that means going to the restaurant, picking up the bill and not thinking twice about it. That means leaving a $100 tip on a drink at the bar if you're out with your friends. That means being able to always have enough to give. That means being able to not even look at the menu when you go out to eat and order. That means being able to have the nicest things and not feel guilty about purchasing those things for yourself, for your family. By us being able to leverage the freedom of our time, we open up the freedom of money. Because the people that master their time, look at professionals like Dan Martell, who has the Buy Back Your Time framework. It talks about mastering and delegating time. You can maximize your time. Why do you think these millionaires wear Rolexes, expensive $100,000, $500,000 million watches? Because they've mastered time. And they want to put it on the wrist. They want to show that they've been able to master time. And the mastery of time ultimately contributes to the mastery of money, contributes to abundance and prosperity. And what does it mean to be rich? It means to be able to have no limitation. And ultimately, to be able to master your time, to be able to have freedom of time and freedom of money, you ultimately need to do those things through relationships, because there are certain people that you need in your life to be able to make those things possible. You need a team of people around you. You need a loving family. You need to support yourself. There's a person that you need to be to show up in the world every day to be able to achieve those things. There are individuals that can do all of the things that we try and do ourselves that we aren't quite masters at, there are individuals that are, one, better at those things than us, and two, that enjoy doing them a whole lot more than we do. And we're doing a disservice to the world by not allowing ourselves to take those things and give them to other people. Because why would we hold on to all these things that we're not great at, that other people love doing? Somebody else could be so much better at it and love it much more than us, so let me get it off my plate and let me give it to them. Freedom of time. I need enough money to be able to pay them to do it. Freedom of money and freedom of relationships to be able to not only have these people in our lives that allow us the other two, the ladder of money and time, but also being able to create and collaborate with the most amazing people in the world. The more money, the more time you have, the more you have to spend, the more you have to share. I don't like to say spending my time. I like to say sharing my time. This realization for me of how important freedom is in my life and what I want in this life. I want to be able to create and collaborate with the most successful people in the entire world, with successful businesses and celebrities and actors and actresses and influencers, people who are putting out positive energy into the world, inspiring, influencing people in a positive way, putting food on people's plates, building businesses that are innovative and changing the entire landscape of what it means to live in this 21st century. I want to be working with people that are changing the world. I want to be having conversations with those people. I want to be able to have my freedom of my own time on top of that. I want to be able to have the time to share with these people. I want to be able to have the time to travel the world. I want to have the time to be able to give to my family and to be able to funnel into the things that I love most, the hobbies, the activities, the business, all the things that I love doing more than anything else. The things that I'm best at, I want to funnel my time into. And I want to be able to have more than enough money to be able to do these things without limitation. Because ultimately the goal in my mind is to be able to create without limitation, is to be able to be free in my own self-expression. And to be able to have that ultimate freedom, to be able to have any idea, any imagination, anything that moves through my imagination, for me to reduce the friction, the time and energy that it takes for that one thing to move into physical reality is ultimately the goal of all the things that I'm doing. To be able to effortlessly create and effortlessly manifest these ideas that are worthwhile, because that's what success is. Success is the constant pursuit of a worthy ideal. And when we are able to reduce the time, energy, and effort that it takes to bring an idea into physical manifestation, that means we are living a successful life. And not only just any idea, but a worthwhile idea. And when we can deem our ideas worthy and we can continue to move them into form, that is when we know we're achieving success. And that's what I want more than anything. And I know as an entrepreneur, you probably want the same exact thing. You want freedom. You want freedom. And maybe you don't know exactly what form that takes, because that changes over time. It shifts over time. What we want out of life is never clear. And we can start to write it down and we can put it in a spreadsheet and we can write about 10 years from now and 5 years from now and a year from now and 90 days from now. We can start to get really dialed in on what that looks like, but it's never going to be exact. But all we can do is we can keep moving and keep taking action, keep taking steps forward on the path there. And the path is going to wind and the path is going to turn, but ultimately there is going to be a time when we can take a step back and take a deep breath and see what it was that we created. And I use these videos and I use my journal and I use voice memos and I write quite a bit and I record and I document everything in my journey as I'm doing this and as I'm creating this business and creating this life that's worth living. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and identifying what it is, the thing that you want more than anything else in the entire world. It's uncomfortable to face it a lot of times because you may seem different. People may look at you and not understand, right? That's the thing with entrepreneurs. It's like they don't understand why. There's a very small demographic of people that really can understand who you are and why you do it. And just know that I understand, because I am one of those people. And I'm actively seeking out community that is able to share these dreams, these ambitions, these ideas with me. So thank you so much for hanging out with me as we share these ideas and share this vision. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Click below, subscribe, watch the other videos on the channel. We're creating content specifically for founders and people that want to get outside of their comfort zone and create the life that they deserve and the life that they want to be living every single day. So much love, so much peace. Catch you on the flip side.